One thing to think about, guys, when you're doing feasibility for 3 stories, you're gonna have to start contending with high voltage power lines. So that's something you really got to watch out for. So when we run feasibilities, that's one of our things on our feasibility study. We see if there's any high voltage power lines, and then see if what our clearance is going to be. For high voltage, you got to be 14 feet. It's a 14-foot radius around the wire. So typically your high voltage power lines, when you have a pole, you have wires that are big fat black ones, kind of more mid. At the very top, usually you have a very skinny wire. It's almost like a silver wire. It's at the very top of your pole, just one single wire. That's your high voltage. So when you go 3 stories, you're actually getting about to the height of that wire, which means you're gonna have to be 14 feet away. So if you were intending to build right on the alley, typically the poles are right on the alley. If you go up, like, you're not gonna be able to build right there. Essentially, if you're 3-story, you're gonna have to be 14 feet away from the alley. Now, if you're a 2-story, then it gets closer to you're like around 8-ish feet away from the alley, because you're only 2 stories. So you come in 8 feet from the alley, typically you're going to be about 14 feet away from that line. So that would be a big gotcha if you're careful. So high voltage lines, the service lines, that's different. That's like 5 feet, so it's not that big of a deal. Usually we don't have an issue with that. But we had a project that we did where literally they didn't want to be 10 feet closer to the primary residence, because then they would have to fire rate. And then it ended up being exactly 10 feet away from the SFR and 14 feet away, like 14 feet, like 6 inches from the power line, from a radius. So anyways, but that's from a feasibility standpoint, watch out for that if you're starting to build higher.